providing a little bit of a Pegasus 101 overview to you. I know most of you already know Pegasus, use Pegasus, but we also have new users. And it's also an opportunity to have a different view. What is Pegasus and why we use Pegasus and why you could use Pegasus, and discover also maybe a few new features that you want to add to your workflows. So basically, I think if you come to a session that it's a professor giving a 101 class, you first ask about why Pegasus, why you would like to use Pegasus here. So as you know, Pegasus is basically handling workflows for us, that you have several tasks. So on these tasks, you see these graphs here. You can see maybe nodes as your program that you're executing some tasks that you're going to have to do. But then you have a sequence of steps that normally the researcher do. You get some data, you treat some data, you do some processing that can be parallel or not. And then you put this data together again, do some more processing, and then you so on, and the shapes of the workflow is going to vary. So what Pegasus really does is try to automate all of these complex, multi-stage processing pipelines. And it's doing all of this kind of executions in a parallel and a distributed computational way. Can be also distributed into the cloud, into the grids, into clusters, or any kind of basically systems that you have today. A key feature of Pegasus also is it automatically executes all the data transfers. So it has a very nice engineering system that we do data management automatically for the user. The user basically just needs to specify where the data is, where you wanted to run some things, and Pegasus is going to take care of all of that for you. As a free result, what you get back is you have a reproducibility, because you know exactly how things were created and executed. You get the provenance trace. It also automatically handles failures for you, because if you're running a workflow with 4 or 5 tasks, it's easy to you to manually go back and check what is the problem that you had in your script. But if you're running, talking about workflows that you're going to see today, there are hundreds of thousands of tasks. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what was the issue there. So Pegasus have tools, and we heard 2 days ago, the first day, of some feedback that we're going to continue to work on that to improve these tools and how important they are. Pegasus keeps tracks of all the data and the files for you. And another very nice feature is the data integrity that I think Karan talking about that on Tuesday. But basically here, the idea is ensuring that the data you are producing and consuming is the right data. So you're not, just spending computation with some corrupted data, and at the end you get some result that you weren't expect. And if you may think that was your program or your input, it actually was some data that was corrupted during transfer or the storage and so on. And of course, we should not forget to say that Pegasus runs on top of HT Condor. It has been a collaboration, for a long, long time and very successful. So we are glad to have been on this partnership for so long and working so well. So basically, it would come to me and say, okay, I'm very interested in Pegasus. I like all this idea. So how can I build the workflow now with Pegasus? And you have a few different options here. The most popular one today is the Python API, and was completely, redesigned with Pegasus 5.0. That it makes things very, very easy and very straightforward and intuitive to use. That there is a compatibility with the Jupyter notebooks. If you follow the tutorial that was done last Tuesday, you saw this Jupyter notebook there using the Python API to create the workflows, do the descriptions. We also provide a Java API and an R API that, if you're more comfortable with these languages, is how you can describe the workflows too. So if you go to our website, and also there is a link on the Pug website too, for the self-guided tutorial, that basically by yourself, you can go there, you log in, just follow the instructions, and it should give you all the basic ideas on how to create a workflow, how to describe the workflow, and provide all the information necessary for you to describe the experiment you're trying to run. One thing that is important to say here is Pegasus, when you're defining a workflow, we have this concept of an abstract workflow. And what we mean about the abstract is we really want the user to think about what the workflow is required to do. So basically, if you look back on this graph, is we want you to describe what are the tasks that you have, what are the programs that are going to be executing, what are the data that are going to be produced, what are the dependencies between this data, and really think about the structure of the workflow that you're defining, that what is your execution, what are the dependencies, and so on. So this is what we call the abstraction of the workflow, and it's one of the main things you do with the APIs. But also you can come to me and ask, okay, but now how can I go from this abstraction to an execution? And what kind of information do you need from me? So once you define the workflow, and the workflow is there basically saying, these are the tasks, these are the dependencies, these are the executables, these are the input data. Okay, you told me about the tasks, you told me about the input data, but you're not telling me where is input data, where are the executables, or where I should execute that. And this is exactly what we need from you as additional what we call the catalogs. So we have 3 different catalogs that are named the site catalog, the transformation catalog, and the replica catalog. So basically you can, I like renaming these catalogs a little bit, saying replica catalog is you're telling me where the input data for the workflow is. The transformation catalog, you're telling me where the executables of your workflow are. And the site catalog, you're telling me where you wanted to execute your workflow. So you give me information about properties saying, I wanted to execute on this cloud, and this cloud has this kind of storage available, or this is the scratch space of this HPC system, or this is the batch scheduler of that system. Or if you're using Condor pools, this is where I'm going with the Condor pool. Basically what Pegasus is gonna do is we take these abstract workflows that we call this portable description, that is a high level view of your needs. We combine this abstract workflow with these 3 informations here, these catalogs, and we're gonna generate the executable workflow automatically for you, that it's gonna have some add-on jobs, for example, jobs to staging data, to a determined platform, clean up data, so you ensure that they're not going over your quota of the disk, stage out jobs so you can get the data back to whatever place you wanted to store that data, and registration jobs that are jobs putting provenance records and statistics data and so on. What is interesting to see, it's you're always going to have the same abstract workflow, but the executable workflow might change depending on where you're going to execute, because different platforms have different requirements. So just to talk a little bit more about execution, I'm not going to go all the details of here, but it's just for you to have an overview of the things you can do, is where we can compute. So basically you can compute on your desktop laptop if you want. You can go for the local or the campus cluster, support with all the different systems are available today, the most popular ones. You can go also to HPC systems, just listed a few here, but basically we have been running on, I think almost at least the most popular HPC systems in the US and some in Europe too. The clouds, you can run on Amazon, Google Cloud, or also test beds like Chameleon Cloud. And the grids that was, so some projects are using the Open Science Grid, as you saw some presentations last Tuesday on that. Storage, there are file systems that we can interact. We can interact with the shared and non-shared file systems using Condor IO, do parallel transfers, automatic retries, and there is a number of transfer protocols that Pegasus automatically understands. So let's say, for example, you have some data that is stored in some Globus Online endpoint. We just need to provide the endpoint and a few more information, and then Pegasus is automatically going to transfer the data. Or if it's an Amazon S3 storage, or so on, SRMs and other kind of systems. So we have a number of protocols that we automatically handle for you, so you don't need to worry about what is the exact line to type into my commands to transfer this data from point A to point B. And there is a number of optimizations that most of them are, I think, all of them are doing automatically. And you can always, of course, provide a little bit more information if you wanted to tailor them to your specific needs. But some of them are task clustering, so we are reducing execution overhead. Data reuse. The idea of data reuse is we try to look to see how much of the data has been already produced for the workflow that is going to be down the road, and we try to prune the workflow to just execute exactly the new parts of it. So basically, you can ensure that you're not recomputing the same data again and again and just wasting time and resources. We provide a lot of fault tolerance techniques that are the checkpoints, retries, the rescue decks that reuse a lot of the data reuse part. So if your workflow is running, it fails at some point for whatever reason, you can just recall rescue deck that is gonna recreate the part of the workflow that is still missing to be run. So you don't need to rerun everything from the beginning. And the large scale workflows that we handle up to millions of jobs, into using hierarchical executions that it also allows you to do a little bit of the dynamic behavior. So you can you can tell the workflow to say, this job actually is not a job, it's an entire workflow, and it's gonna be planned on the fly, depending on the executions of the previous results of the previous jobs. What you can do next, grab us to the break, come to the office hours at the end and do the self-guide tutorial. And thank you.